Elan Gale, nice to meet you.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to speak with PopWire today.
Happy to.
Scott Hallock told me the great story on how he got Jordan Peele and his Monkey Paw production company to board Scare Tactics. How did you get involved with this reboot?
Yeah, great question. I had been, I'm a horror fan. I'm a Jordan Peele fan, and I'm a Scare Tactics fan. And I had been working a little bit with some of the producers over at Monkey Paw, developing some stuff. I've just been, big fan for a long time. And we were working on some things that were in the horror reality space, having fun, bouncing ideas around. And at that time, I guess they started moving forward on Scare Tactics, and I'd met Scott at that point, and and long story short, when they decided they were moving forward, I threw my hat in the ring, and I was like, "Hey, I'd love to help bring this into existence if I can, and help try to be a part of the team." So we all met and spent a lot of time together talking about what we wanted this kind of reimagining to look like. And I was lucky enough to feel like I might be able to add a little something to the team. But yeah, it was me more chasing it than anything else. I just wanted to be a part of it. So I tried to make sure I found a way to, to work on it. I didn't happen to do anything on the show, honestly. I'd be happy to be one of the actors, frankly. It's a storied show with a great legacy, and it's humbling and terrifying and exciting to get to play, in that playground for a few months.
And Scott had mentioned that Jordan had told him some of his best scares from, the original show. And were you able to bring some of his Jordan's favorites and recreate it for this iteration?
Very much so. I think that one of the biggest highlights for us ended up being in our premiere episode, which was the return of Demon Baby. Um, Demon Baby is a classic. It's one of those things that even if you didn't watch Scare Tactics, you've definitely seen it at some point in your life. And I think we all talked about wanting to find ways to make sure that we paid, homage to the original, to the show, and also to some of the people that were on it, to some of the actors. And at some point, we were trying to figure out what our Demon Baby was going to be. And we thought, let's just challenge ourselves to do it again in an entirely different story. How do we have that same kind of character and bridge the gap between the original Scare Tactics and the new Scare Tactics? And so we called Gabriel Pimental, who played the Demon Baby in the original, and luckily he was down to come play with us again. And so for me, that was like the kind of the epic. It's why we wanted to start the season with that one too. It's this epic moment of, hey, we're respecting the lineage of this show. We're respecting the fans, which we are also, and we're going to try to bring them something a little bit new, but also let them know that we're celebrating the show as opposed to trying to pretend that we're creating something entirely new.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that you were able to bring back Gabriel is so amazing.
He's the best. He's the best dude. I don't know if you ever met him, but he's
No.
the best dude. And you
Yeah.
should totally have him on sometime
Oh,
because
that would be
he's
so amazing.
awesome. He's
Yes,
awesome.
yes. Alright, so you have a big background in reality TV, working on the Bachelor franchise and F-Boy Island, along with scripted shows, working with Mike Flanagan, and I also love your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Big
Um,
Kate
w
fam.
yes, she's so great. But Scare Tactics is a whole new beast with a completely different format than you're used to. As a showrunner, what would you say is the biggest challenge you faced working on this show?
It's such a great question, and you're entirely right. It's it's not a scripted show, and it's not really an unscripted show either. Um, for the duration of when our our targets are there. It's an unscripted show, right? We're guessing. We have no idea. The actors are ad-libbing and improvising everything. There's no other way to do it. But the creation around it is something that is very different for me. And so we had a writer's room with these incredible writers who would come up with these zany, incredible ideas, and we would try to find ways to make them work. But then in a normal scripted universe, you'd go and figure out how to shoot the thing they wrote. We had to then take that thing that they wrote and then work with our unscripted team to kind of put together a process, a filter through which this could actually work, even if the person did things that were unexpected. And so for me, it was this very interesting hybrid process where you think you know what the best story you're going to tell is that day. But like any unscripted showrunner or producer, you know that it's only really going to be great if it goes a little bit, if people are people and it goes a little bit left or a little bit right or a little bit wonky. And so you have to be really controlled in the first half of the process to try to figure out what those stories are going to be. And then you have to let go of all of that control because people are people, and learning to step back and learning to let the world do its own thing and, not. I think I'm really lucky that I've spent more time in the unscripted world than the scripted world because I'm used to not being able to control anything. And so I think that's where I think that was the biggest challenge. And I think half of our team was a scripted team, half was an unscripted team. And so finding those new communication channels for everyone to work together, that was the most challenging, but also the most rewarding.
Mhm. So this version doesn't have a celebrity host. Was there any point in development that there was gonna be one, and who, would be your dream host, celebrity host?
There was as soon as I came aboard, Flip was already kind of was already born from the dreams of Monkey Paw. So we never really talked about celebrity host, but so this is going to sound crazy. But if I could pluck someone out of the ether, to host the season of Scare Tactics, it would actually be Doug Jones. I'm not sure, how, but he's one of those, he's an actor. He's been in basically every horror movie and every horror show you've ever seen. He's one of those guys, and
Oh, is he the
he's the,
creature actor dude?
yes, and he's the
Yeah,
count in What We Do in Shadows, um,
and he was in Shape of
and
Water as well,
Shape
right?
of Water. Yeah, so
Okay.
he's like he has one of the most amazing careers, and he's one of the nicest humans on earth and was kind of beloved in the industry. And so I think for a show like Scare Tactics that runs through all of the kind of subgenres of horror, sci-fi, he's one of the only people who's literally lived in all of those worlds, and he's so compelling to watch. I would just love to see him kind of be our guide, to the horror, to the extended horror universe.
The whole season is available to stream on Peacock. Out of all of the episodes, which scare segment was your favorite and one that viewers should definitely look out for?
I mean, this is gonna be no surprise, but the one that I think viewers should look out for the most, and I don't want to give too much away, is the very last scare of the season. We shot it just a couple days before we wrapped, and it's one of the few where we broke all of our own rules. And I think that is why we wanted to put it last and why it was so exciting. But to me, it's kind of like a celebration of what scare tactics can do. It was a challenge to ourselves. And so for me, the finale, the very last one, it's called the Seance, and it'll be out, oh my gosh, in 2 days.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you get to chat again for season two. Fingers crossed.
I really hope it happens.